A pleasant Saturday to you, our viewers, and welcome to another edition of the Tribune's Top 5, where we'll do a recap of all of this week's hottest stories. The criticisms levied against former College of the Bahamas president Dr. Rodney Smith have not deterred him from seeking reappointment to that post. And this week, Dr. Smith released a statement asking members of the public to view him as a man of integrity and forget that 2005 plagiarism scandal.
Controversial College of the Bahamas presidential candidate Dr. Rodney Smith said almost a decade after he was terminated from the college over a high-profile plagiarism scandal, he remains regretful of the event. But now his focus is on teaching students and others the importance of good judgment. He said, quote, 9 years ago, I made a serious mistake, and that mistake resulted in my resignation from the presidency of the college. I deeply regret the mistake and the embarrassment it caused. It was and remains my decision to accept full responsibility for it. As a Bahamian who is committed to the development of our country, I ask that everyone focus on the future of our generation of Bahamians to come, end quote. His official elevation to college president has yet to be approved by the Christie cabinet. The controversy surrounding the letter of intent to build a $650 million waste-to-energy deal signed by Ministry of Works Parliamentary Secretary Renwood Wells took a new twist this week, with accusations by Democratic National Alliance leader Bramble McCartney that it was Prime Minister Perry Christie who instructed Mr. Wells to sign that letter. Mr. McCartney said he was reliably informed that Mr. Christie had not fired Mr. Wells or asked him to resign because it was the Prime Minister who gave directives to Wells to sign the letter. Well, Mr. Christie did not take those allegations lightly. While denying that he had anything to do with the situation, Mr. Christie threatened legal action against all entities responsible for publishing Mr. McCartney's claims. In a statement, Mr. Christie said, quote, this allegation is categorically denied and is absolutely false. I said or did no such thing. I regard this as a most serious and malicious defamation of my character, and I have therefore instructed my attorneys to take such steps as they may deem appropriate against the persons responsible for publication of the defamatory statements in question, end quote.
The equality referendum, now planned for November 6, has reminded the general public of a similar referendum in 2002 in which Prime Minister Perry Christie, who was then opposition leader, led a no vote against equality for women.
Free National Movement Chairman Darren Cash demanded on Wednesday that Prime Minister Perry Christie give a full-throated apology to the FNM and the public for the part he played in the Vote No campaign against the 2002 referendum. Cash said Mr. Christie should seek forgiveness because the actions at that time hurt supporters of equality for women as well as FNMs who worked so hard to secure that right for women in the country. However, Prime Minister Perry Christie fired back at Cash, first saying that he, quote, pays no attention to Cash because he's not an elected official, end quote, and then saying he would not apologize. Mr. Christie added that he was unsure of whether Cash's comments was the official position of the party. And more from the referendum front brought calls for the government to clarify the fourth proposed amendment to the Bahamas' constitution, where the government expects to add the word sex into Article 26 to make it unconstitutional to discriminate based on whether someone is male or female. The proposed change, said both DNA leader Bramble McCartney and FNM deputy leader Loretta Butler Turner, could possibly open the door to same-sex marriages in the Bahamas. However, Prime Minister Perry Christie responded, saying the government's plans would not legalize lesbian and gay marriages and that the government is not going to change the wording of the amendment. He said, quote, but we were very clear, absolutely very clear. In my communication, I said it does not involve, does not contemplate, and most certainly with me it won't. So the Constitution changes, therefore refers to the Matrimonial Causes Act and refers to laws that exist in the Bahamas today. We do not propose to change the fact that a man marries a woman, end quote.
For the first time since the Renwood Wells letter of intent saga unfolded, Prime Minister Perry Christie spoke at great length. This time, the Prime Minister confirmed that he ordered a probe into the situation and that in the end, he will have the final say of Mr. Wells' fate.
Prime Minister Perry Christie said he has ordered an investigation with a view to extracting the details surrounding what prompted Ministry of Works Parliamentary Secretary Renwood Wells to sign a letter of intent with Stella Waste Management to build a multi-million-dollar facility at the New Providence landfill. The outcome of that probe, Mr. Christie told reporters on Thursday, will go to, quote, the root of Mr. Wells' existence as part of the government, end quote. However, the Prime Minister said in the meantime, Mr. Wells can make his own decision on whether he will resign in view of the controversy. Since it was revealed last month that Mr. Wells, who is also the Bambootown MP, signed the letter of intent for the $650 million waste energy project, there has been a wave of criticisms over the government's lack of action over concerns that he may have signed it without authorization. However, Mr. Christie insists that he will not shirk his responsibility to make a final decision on the matter. When asked if the government was considering moving ahead with Stellar Waste Management to construct a new plant, Mr. Christie said no deal with the company was before him.
Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website at www.tribune242.com, like us on Facebook at the Tribune News Network, or send us a tweet at Tribune242.